Good morning, beautiful people. It is Overreaction Monday, December 2nd already. 'Tis the season, not only for the birthday of the Jesus and the Hanukkah and the Kwanzaa and everything else you potentially celebrate. We're happy you're doing that. But it's the season to find out who stinks in the NFL and who's real. Who's the pretender? Who's the contender? Yesterday's NFL slate was a thing of beauty. We'll break it all down in beautiful fashion. Also, joining us today in the first hour, it is...
First hour is Brian Westbrook.
That is right, Ty, and I knew. That's why I asked you if you knew. And in the second hour, I have to answer to Eddie George, who was on the show on Friday, made a bet with me about the Titans and the Colts. The Titans eventually going to win because the Colts stink right now. And I'm sure he'll be pretty chatty about that in the second hour. Evan Fox is back in the control room directing humans. He's 25 years old, probably shouldn't be doing that. Zito is wearing a Homer Simpson shirt because his sources say the Simpsons are coming to an end. It's a beautiful Monday here from New York for World Trade. Foxy, play some Chase Rice.
It's the perfect occasion for a little vacation from the heart of the nation. Out of your medication, 2 hours of magic. Let's give it a go. Ladies and gents, it's the Pat McAfee Show. It's the Pat McAfee Show.
Yeah, it's a Big Ten for good buddy Chase Rice. He's on tour. If he comes to your town, go ahead and check him out. Joined alongside Ty Schmidt from Waterloo, Iowa, and owner of the Packers. Packers looked damn good yesterday against the fumbling, bumbling, stumbling New York Giants in a snowstorm, Ty.
Yeah, I mean, that's the weather we prepare for. That's the weather we play for. They were saying Daniel Jones had never thrown a football or played in the snow before. So when I heard that, I mean, he looked damn good in the first half. But I said, you know what? Just give it time. Raji's going to heat up here. He did. They kicked their asses.
It's like Novocaine. Just give it time. It'll set in. That's like Aaron Rodgers.
Mm-hmm.
For me, though, it might be a little bit. Happy birthday, Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, happy birthday, Raji.
On this day, probably 30-some years ago.
36
years ago in California, a man was birthed who would go on to lead the Cal Bears, play football well there. He'd get passed over by numerous people on draft day, including the San Francisco 49ers, the team that he grew up loving. Then he gets drafted to the Packers to back up Brett Favre. He and Brett Favre, obviously in two different chapters of life, have some disagreements. Brett Favre goes out. Aaron Rodgers comes in and lights the world on fire ever since. Befriends Brett Favre again, and the world has come full circle with a new offense being led by LaFleur. It seems like Aaron Rodgers' 36th year of life, his 36th trip around the sun, might be his best one yet. And from us to the friend of the show, happy birthday, pal.
We love you, buddy.
We do love you, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I don't love? The fact that if that defense doesn't get turnovers, it looks like they could potentially get picked apart. And in the NFC, there's some quarterbacks that can do that. Is that something you're worried about as a Packers fan?
I mean, you have to be worried about it, but right now, we're 9-3. That's what I'm going to hang my hat on. But yeah, Daniel Jones in the first half yesterday, looked like Joe Montana.
He's Danny Dimes.
Yeah, he was leading them down the field. It's so weird because 1 week they won't be able to stop the run at all. 1 week they'll just get torched in the passing game. So I don't know. It's something they need to figure out. But they've also been very successful at creating turnovers all year. So maybe that is just their MO. So I don't know. I'm not too worried about it, but they definitely need to shore that defense up.
Happy birthday, Aaron Rodgers. Also, happy birthday to upset Tom Brady, who's been birthed here in the last couple weeks. I said this on Get Up. This is the thing that I loved about Tom Brady for so long, while the rest of the world hated him, by the way. Anybody outside New England hated Tom Brady. I think we're all at the point now where everybody just respects what they've done. But last night, watching him struggle in primetime, if you followed along that game on the internet at all, the world couldn't be happier to watch somebody who's been at the top of the mountain fall from grace just a little bit, falter just a little bit. Taylor Swift says, people throw rocks at things to shine. Tom Brady's been shining for a long, long, long time.
That's right.
People hated the Yankees back in the day when they were winning all the time. People hated the Lakers back in the day when they were winning all the time. People hate the Patriots because they win all the time. In the face of that team is Tom Brady. And now Tom Brady has is on record for his worst passer rating in the history of his career. Okay? Even when he was a rookie and they were dependent upon other things, his worst rating of his entire career, he is on the way to accomplishing that this year. And the thing about Tom Brady that I've always respected is even in the face of adversity, in these massive moments, it looked like he didn't have sweat glands. It actually looked like the guy never sweat. His eye black was always perfectly primmed and propped right there on his face. He looked like he was out of a movie or a television show every time he stepped on a field. I'd gone on to say that whenever babies pop out, they should show a picture of Tom Brady and say, hey, if you are half as good as this human, not only good looking, but successful, accomplished, and seems to be nice. If you're half as good as this human, you've done good. The last couple weeks, Tom Brady, a man who never sweats, never blinks, seems to know what they have right now. And that's a rattled offense. Dan Orlovsky broke down in beautiful fashion this little situation between him and Philip Dorsett, who has done well for them this year. He gives Philip Dorsett the gun sign, right? Little gun sign. Dorsett's way outside on the left. Apparently, that gun sign meant a double move. Phil Dorsett either didn't get the sign or didn't adhere to it. Tom Brady hucks back, expecting a double move from Philip Dorsett. It lands flat. Boom. No problem. Go to the sidelines. Him and Josh McDaniels are looking at the, what's it called?
The Microsoft Surface.
They paid a lot of money for us to say it.
Yes, they did.
Excuse me. Just burped up an egg sandwich. Was going to start keto today, decided not to. Strictly because I forgot I was starting keto today and I had a bagel as soon as I walked in.
Well, that was all that was available for
What do you want from me?
I mean, what are you going to do?
I mean, I'll eat meat. You know what I mean? People know that I'll eat meat.
Right.
Anyways, goes to the sideline, talks to that Microsoft Surface. Would have been better if they got iPods or iPads. But I mean, Apple, you know, a little tight on cash. Microsoft Surface, they look at that. Josh McDaniels explain him like, hey, what happened here? He said, well, I gave him the gun sign. You actually see him say, I gave him the gun sign. He did it. And then he says, I'm done with him. That I'm done with him is not only showing that Tom Brady's rattled, but Tom Brady hates what's going on the offensive side. A guy who's always been calm, cool, and collected seems to no longer be that. And for me, that's the biggest sign that they're struggling. Everybody says their offense hasn't figured it out. They've been saying it for months. Offense isn't that great. The defense, which has been historically good, has been carrying them, and they have. Their special teams has been carrying them, and they have. But I've said Tom Brady and that offense, Josh McDaniels, they're going to figure it out. After watching last night with how upset he was, how he was imploring his teammates to be faster, quicker, and more explosive. Things that you just can't become. These are things that you either are or you're not. Whenever he was imploring them to do this, that's whenever I was like, oh, maybe this offense isn't going to figure out. Maybe this offense, if they had Josh Gordon, who they just let walk out of the building, maybe if this offense had Demaryius Thomas, who they let walk out of the building twice, and for as much hell as he raised up there, Antonio Brown, now granted, the allegations are terrible. If he did anything that they are alleging, I hope he goes to jail forever. But obviously a lot of drama. You have Antonio Brown on that team, you're in a good spot. And it feels like Tom Brady is losing hope in that offense. And for me, they're still 10-2. They're still going to be in the playoffs. They're probably going to have a home game, which is going to be very difficult to beat them in Foxborough. But that offense is nowhere near what it used to be. And I think it's gotten to the point now where when Belichick made a decision, you would always go, well, makes sense. Well, no other team would ever do that. No other team would ever let that person go. No other team would let that person not be a part of their offense. But it's Belichick. They win, they can do it. They obviously can't buy into the Patriot way. Now, without those pieces that they just let walk out of the building, and with how their offense is struggling, can't help but go, is the dynasty over in New England? No new contracts, a lot of chatter about him leaving. Obviously, Belichick and Tom have had their disagreements, but they've been the most successful pairing in the history of pairings of coaches and quarterbacks. But with how flustered Tom was last night, that really sent a message to me that maybe this Patriots team, even though they're 10-2, I can't stress that enough. They are 10-2 with a bad offense right now that Tom doesn't trust them. Even though they're 10-2, I don't know how I feel about them in the playoffs. When normally I would just hammer the Patriots,
right,
which is what I have done, by the way, and I've been very successful with that. Shout out to yesterday, me banking in on FanDuel with a 16 parlay, no big deal. Stayed away from the Patriots because I don't know what they're going to do. Actually took the Texans +3 because half the Patriots had the flu, by the way, so that's a big deal, which should be accounted for. And even with how bad that offense played last night, playing against one of the hottest teams in the AFC, they made it a one-score game at the end. So There is things to be said about all that, but if I'm a Patriots fan, I don't like seeing Tommy Cool lose his mind a little bit a couple different occasions and look like he's sweating. Now, granted, I know he's always been feisty, and I know he gets in people's, ass every once in a while, chews them out. But for me, it just looks like Tom Brady's at the point where he's like, I don't know what the hell I can do anymore. He even threw the helmet at one point. That's not a Tom Brady thing. And for me, that's where the red flags start going ding, 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 ding.
Brady's always going to get the benefit of the doubt because he is the greatest of all time. But at this point, too, like, how much of this is his fault? Like, he just hasn't looked as crisp. Like, that interception he threw last night early in the game, I feel like that's just something you don't see him do. I mean, he missed that throw. It was terrible. It was behind his receiver. Like, obviously, he doesn't have as much chemistry with a lot of these guys, but at what point is it like maybe he is losing a little bit on his fastball?
Well, I think whenever you lose confidence and you lose trust and you lose comfort, not only, by the way, with his weapons, I think also with the offensive line, they're on like their fourth center or something like that. So when you're not comfortable, you can almost get happy feet. But I think he's throwing the ball pretty good, by the way. That Mohamed Sanu drop, that ball was thrown perfectly with some zip. We've all seen him on Instagram, too. He's faster than he's ever been. He's throwing balls faster than he's ever been. But for me, I'm a little bit worried about how flustered he's getting because Tom Brady doesn't do that. Tom Brady doesn't get flustered like that. Guys, listen, I need you to be faster, quicker, more explosive. It's like, I don't know how that happens. Tom looked at a group of humans and said, I wish we had other people that were faster, quicker, more explosive, were robotic. And after all this stuff that we are saying right now, it was still a 6-point game.
Right.
Onside kick away from potentially getting a win. Not just tying, a win out of nowhere. And it's like, that's why the Patriots are the Patriots. But for me, I don't think I'm hammering them as hard going into the playoffs as I would.
Well, and you look at just kind of where things are trending now, like Buffalo's stock is going up. And, I mean, they could basically play for the division in a couple weeks here in Foxborough.
Buffalo has to play the Ravens, which...
That's true. Yeah.
We'll talk about them momentarily. But Buffalo has to play the Ravens, I think, this weekend, which is going to be quite a test for both teams, I think, by the way. I think the defense for Baltimore came out a little flat. I think Marcus Peters, I said this on Get Up, he is a lightning rod of a player whenever he's playing well. I think in the first half he didn't play great. I think in the second half he turned it on. And the guys at the Get Up said, well, that's kind of how he is. He's kind of hit or miss, but whenever he's on, he's on. I think yesterday he was on in the second half, so they lit it up. In the first half he wasn't so much. But that Buffalo Bills defense has been heralded as a very good defense. We're going to find out a lot about them because a very good defense yesterday had to take on the Baltimore Ravens. And 3 out of 4 of the Baltimore Ravens scoring drives were 6 minutes and 30 seconds long or longer. That's insane to me. That is absolutely insane. They were able to just matriculate down the field. Lamar Jackson, who not only has been the most explosive player this year, not only has he been faster, quicker, more explosive, like Thomas said, he's been all these things, but they were able to just take their time moving down that 12-plus play drives. I mean, to seal that thing out with 6:28 left on the clock, drive down and get a game-winning field goal, like that is beautiful football. Now, they didn't cover. So I wish they would have been a little bit quicker on a couple of different occasions. I wish they would have scored faster. But that Baltimore Ravens offense has the ability to win fast. They have the ability to win slow. That offensive line with Marshall Yonda in there, who's getting a lot more credit now, as he should, is doing very well. And that 3 tight end set. And I think the Ravens are the best team in the NFL. I think everybody thinks that at this point, honestly. There at the beginning, they had some growing pains with Greg Roman and Lamar Jackson, where Lamar Jackson said, I don't like running anymore. He wants to throw. So they threw the ball 40 sometimes. Now they're throwing in like mid-20s, and it's kind of hitting a real groove. Mark Ingram, by the way, who I love, has a great personality, not only good for that locker room, but on the field he's playing well. Then you got Andrews and the other line or tight ends who are doing well. And on the defensive side, they're starting to play. And in the special teams, you're talking about the purest ball striker I have ever seen in Justin Tucker. Sam Cook, who rarely punts, is very good at his job. And Morgan Cox is the long snapper. He's very good at what he does. That Wolfpack sets up people for success. Their coverage is good. That team is so well-rounded. They're so good at so many different things. And for me, it looks like they're a runaway to win this thing. I have no idea how you stop them. That 49ers defense, people are talking about being the best defense in a long, long time. 6-minute and 30-second drives on them 3 out of 4 times. Boom, 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 doing whatever the hell you want. How do you stop that, Ty? Answer, you can't. You can't stop it. They do what they want, when they want, how they want. And in a downpour. Now, San Francisco 49ers had to play at 10 a.m. their time.
Right.
the schedule makers did the 49ers zero favors yesterday. And in a downpour, which kind of takes away from both teams, but I think it hurts the Baltimore Ravens a little bit more than it hurts the Niners.
Yeah, I think so.
But that was a great game. But I think I learned a lot about the Baltimore Ravens where, hey, they can win however style they want to do. And they punched that Niners defense right in the mouth. But also, in the Niners defense, they only held him to 20 points or whatever. That is a low for Lamar Jackson. And the offense was much better than I could have imagined there in the first half. They were able to move. And I think the Niners are good. I think it's going to be tight in the NFC to see who gets hot and who doesn't. I think that Seahawks team with the defense getting hot is going to be tough to stop. But for me, that Ravens team looks like a runaway in the AFC by a long shot, too. Not even close.
Yeah, especially if they get home field advantage and people have to come to Baltimore. I just don't see there being anyone who can beat them.
A lot of fans do it. A lot of fans do that. But in Baltimore, it's almost like they rehearsed that thing. It is loud in there.
I mean, you look at Lamar Jackson yesterday, that was, outside of when they've lost, he almost had like a quiet game, it seemed like. But then you look at the box score, and it's like, oh, okay, actually he ran for over 100 yards.
100, touchdowns.
Right. So it's just like, I don't know. It goes back to something we've been talking about all year. Like, you can watch film of him, you can break stuff down until you actually get on the field and see how fast he is. You're just, there's nothing you can do.
By the way, Niners made that a real game.
They did.
That was a real game. But I think the telling stat is that time of possession.
Mm-hmm.
And to be able to run it out with 6:28 left against the best defense in the NFL right now, whoo! Confidence is at an all-time high over there. Why be less when you can be more? And if you can be more like Lamar, you be more like Lamar. We got to get to a break, but first, Foxy, hit the music. Oh, the New York staple, this song.
Yep.
What I'm about to read to you is probably the best deal I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yep.
Better deal than the Steelers getting an undrafted free agent quarterback. Being an undefeated quarterback, the only one in the NFL right now. Somehow, this is a better deal than the Pittsburgh Steelers stumbling into the Duck Hodges.
Potential Hall of Famer.
Who says he can't be an Hall of Famer, by the way? He's undefeated.
Certainly not us.
I think people should think about letting Duck waddle into that MVP car.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sure, Lamar has more yards and more wins and everything like that, and has captivated a nation.
Country, yeah. So is Duck. So is Duck.
They stunk with Rudolph.
They did.
We'll talk about that on the other side. Coach of the Year candidates on the other side.
Yeah.
But now I'm telling you about the best deal I've ever seen in my entire life. This season, Omaha Steaks is sharing an amazing limited-time offer with listeners of this show to get a jump on your holiday shopping. 'Tis the season. Go to omahasteaks.com and enter the code America in the search bar to order the favorite gift package, the gift all your friends and family will love. For only $69.99, listen to what you get. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
$69.99 gets you this. 4 6-ounce bacon wrap filet mignon, the most tender steak in the world. 4 savory premium pork chops. 4 Omaha Steaks burgers. 4 perfectly browned potatoes au gratin. 4 made from scratch caramel apple tartlets. An Omaha Steaks signature seasoning packet. And for listeners of our show, a free 6-piece cutlery set and a cutting board. All of that.
Oh, they didn't.
All of that, plus the cutlery set. All of that to enjoy for years to come for only $69.99. Omaha Steaks are the most tender, the most flavorful, and you can only get steaks of this quality from Omaha Steaks, America's original butcher. Again, order now. You can get the favorite gift package plus the free 6-piece cutlery set and cutting board for only $69.99. Just go to omahasteaks.com and type America in the search bar. Don't wait. This offer will end soon. Order the favorite gift package today. Buy a couple of these. Stock up for later. Put them in the freezer. Get some cutlery sets. Enjoy your life. omahasteak.com. Search America in the search bar. That's an incredible deal. Speaking of incredible deal, we got Westbrook in a little bit, Brian of that sort, to talk about how the Eagles stink, but they may be in the playoffs with a home game. Who knows? NFC East is terrible. So is this show, but you're listening. We'll be back on the other side. The Pat McAfee Show. Got some new heaters here. Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show. 10:24 on this beautiful December 2nd, 2019. I said beautiful. That's a lie. It is trash outside in New York City. I had to walk from Seaport Pier 17, where they're putting up Christmas decorations, where Get Up is. Always enjoyed my time over there. Not only is Greeny and Rex and Dan and Elle awesome, but the entire staff is really cool. But I had to walk from there to World Trade here. It's like a 13, 14-minute walk. You just get hit right in the face with this New York mist. You have no idea if one of the buildings are just pissing on you or if it's God itself coming down in your face.
Yeah, it's easy to forget that just the amount of like chemicals and bacteria that you're breathing in.
Oh, yeah. Let alone my makeup.
Yeah,
I
that
was
too.
born in it.
That's right. Zito has no problem walking around here. 1-833-622-3331 to get on the horn with us. I would love to hear your takes. NFC East stinks. I mean, it's a joke. The NFC East, we've been saying it for a long time, and this might be because, like when I was in college at West Virginia, I hated Notre Dame. Because Notre Dame was on national television every single week, and their team stunk. Our team was very good. We got caught up on Thursday night games, Friday night games. We had to play day. We didn't get on national TV as much. But Notre Dame, because of Rudy and the things that happened in the past, they're on national TV every single week. So I naturally built up a hatred for it. Moved to Indiana, met a lot of their fans. Kind of grew an appreciation for Notre Dame, right?
Sure.
Just a loyal fan base, you know what I mean? The Catholic whites love them.
Yeah.
You got to do what you got to do. So I actually respect the fact that they built a brand that is very irrelevant, but stays on the tip of most people's tongue, mostly because of the way they handle their business, right? So, but as a college player, I hated them. And then when I was in the NFL, we had good teams, and this NFC East was on primetime television every single week. And I was like, you know what? I hate these teams. I'm like, hey, why are these guys on TV all the time? It's because incredible franchises that have been built, right? I mean, the New York Football Giants, massive. Redskins, massive. Cowboys, massive. Eagles, massive. But I hate to break it to all of them. Right now, and for most years, they stink. From top to bottom, they stink. It's an overhyped machine of the NFC East, which I appreciate because their fan bases are very loyal and very large. And their businesses are run in fashions where they're just trying to gain fans and numbers and money as opposed to actually good football teams. But at this moment, right now, December 2nd, 2019, the Washington Redskins are not mathematically eliminated from winning the NFC East. That's how bad the NFC East is right now. Cowboys obviously get shellacked on Thursday or on Thanksgiving against the Buffalo Bills, which, by the way, sneaky good team.
Sneaky good.
In Jerry World, big time loss. Interesting clapping from Jerry. Interesting emotional response afterwards about how we're just trying to win the Super Bowl right now. And he knows that the rest of the division stinks too.
Right.
Then the Philadelphia Eagles have a chance to go down to Miami. Okay, maybe stop by Tootsie's or something like that. That's the only logical response here. They had a chance to answer with the Cowboys faltering and step up and take a hold of the NFC East and say, hey, this is ours. Carson Wentz has a chance to go, hey, this is what we've been playing for. Malcolm Jenkins, everybody on the defensive side say, hey, this is our... Instead, they go up 14 and a buzzsaw named Fitzmagic hits them right in the mouth. So now we're back to dealing with a terrible NFC East that's going to be on primetime television for the rest of the season. And one of them, in spite of themselves, is going to have to win.
Yeah.
That's just the way the NFL works. Need somebody from every division. It's like baseball all-star. Need somebody from every team. Even the teams that stink need one. That's what's happening with the NFC East. And I did a little query with Hembo over at ESPN. And he mentioned the Seattle Seahawks in 2010. They were 7-9 and won their division.
Yep.
And that's when the Beastquake thing happened. And that's the importance of a home game, right? Now, granted, I don't see Marshawn Lynch on any team in the NFC East. Now, Ezekiel Elliott is a hell of a performer.
They don't give him the ball.
But, yeah, they don't. It's all in Dak Prescott. Shout out Kellen Moore and Jason Garrett. But there ain't no Marshawn Lynches out there. But they're going to have a home playoff game at some point. Somebody in the NFC East is going to. And I think it's just, they're 10-26, that entire division, against people outside of that division. They've only won 33% of their games. Okay? That's the worst in NFL history for a division. The history of the game. Now, granted, it's going to get better. I think it's like 344 is the worst in the history of the game. And somehow this division is going to get better because they're playing against each other, so somebody's going to get a win, and it's going to end up above that. But right now, at the current stand, the NFC East is the worst division in the history of the NFL right now. That's just a stat. That is a fact. Pro Football Talk reported on it. ESPN stats, people backed it up. They stink. And somehow one of them is going to get a home playoff game, and we're going to have to watch them on national television every single week going forward. And it's just tough to watch. The Dolphins, what do we say about Ryan Fitzpatrick?
Hey, if you let him hang around, he's going to end up slashing your throat.
14-0 is not enough of a margin to keep Ryan Fitzpatrick out of a game.
No.
No chance.
Especially, I mean, when they told him basically, like, hey, just go air it out. You know, he's living to hear that. Threw for what, 385 yards? They scored the most points they've scored in like 4 years.
And that Eagles team had a chance to take the lead in the division.
Yeah.
It's sad, the NFC East, man. It's very sad. I think a lot of it's going to get torn down. Who knows what Dwayne Haskins and the Redskins are going to look like next year. They're going to have to get a GM and a coach that is all around Dwayne Haskins, which, by the way, has won a couple games. I have no idea how he's played. I refuse to watch any of their games because
Darius Geis has been very big, the running back. Haskins still is the perennial, like he's 15 to 24 for 138 yards, you know.
He's a rookie quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Who cares? I didn't really like his body language early, but he's getting some wins here. Taking selfies at the end of his first win. A lot of old whites hate that. For me, it's like, you never know if you're going to win again over
Right.
there. Turns out they could potentially win out, and everybody else could lose, and they could still make the playoffs somehow, which is just a sad state of affairs. But they're going to get rebuilt. Cowboys are going to get rebuilt. The Giants are going to get rebuilt.
Mm-hmm.
The Eagles are the only one where they're going to keep Peterson around, I'd assume, because he won a Super Bowl a couple years ago. But the Eagles are the only team that aren't just going to get a complete rebuild after this year. And I'm intrigued to see how the NFC East plays out. But who gives a damn at this point, honestly? And I'll tell you who. It's the television networks. And that was obligatory Cowboy talk.
Well, it just they won't change it, but like if you go 7-9 or 8-8 and win your division, you shouldn't get a home playoff game. It's just as simple as that. Like, because now you look in the NFC, the top half of the NFC is better than, I mean, the AFC's top two teams I think are as good as they get, but the NFC as a whole, that is a very good 6-team slate. One or two of those teams are going to get screwed over, and you're going to have to go play on the road somewhere, and you just never know.
That's why I don't know if a lot of people are asking the Ravens-Niners a preview of the Super Bowl. I don't know. I can't say it for the Niners. I really can't say. I like the Niners a lot. I think they're a very good football team. But that Seattle Seahawks team's getting hot. Mm-hmm. You think Drew Brees is just going to go quietly? No way. Minneapolis Miracle, phantom pass interference. That's how those two seasons ended for Drew Brees the last couple of years. Plus, he sat out for a few weeks, let alone Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers. I mean, the NFC is going to be tough. The AFC, we all know. Ravens are outright favorites.
Right.
Kansas City Chiefs getting hot, by the way. Mm-hmm. You got Andy Reid coming off a bye week. He has like the best winning percentage out of a bye week of all coaches in the history of the NFL. He goes into his office, it's like a beautiful mind. He's got dry erase
dry erase
boards. Now, he probably has the wall paint that I have in the office.
Yep.
It's just dry erase paint. And he just goes to town drawing up new plays. They haven't seen this one yet. They haven't seen this one yet. And Patrick Mahomes got to rest that patella for a couple weeks now. He looked fresh again. He looked rejuvenated again. And that Chiefs team looked like the team that everybody was talking about and why they stayed in the top 10. The Chiefs lost like 4 straight games and stayed in the top 10 because everybody knows the potential. Everybody's like, if this team gets going, which they can do, they're going to be great. Tyrann Mathieu almost fought Ryan Clark on the internet. He said, keep that energy. I want that energy whenever we get going. They're +6 in turnover ratio in the last 2 weeks. That defense seems to be getting good. Colquitt's always going to be a good punter. Butker can hit good balls. I mean, he's good. He's a great kicker. I mean, that team has a chance to really do some damage. But I don't know how you stop the Ravens. And I think that's the answer for the AFC. Yeah, the Patriots are 10-2, and we think that they might be able to possibly almost figure it out on the offensive side of the ball. A lot of words there beforehand. Tom might think it. Tom might be thinking, man, maybe this is the year we don't. Who knows what happens with that? But the Ravens have it figured out. Have they peaked too early? Maybe. There's a lot of football left to be played. But they seem like a team that's unstoppable. The Chiefs are getting hot, I guess. The Titans are a team that have to be talked about because they can run the ball and they can stop the run. They made the Colts look like an average team. Now, granted, the Colts are very banged up. Jacoby Brissett made 2 very bad throws. But the Colts are without T.Y. Hilton. They're without Marlon Mack. They're without Ebron, who's on IR. I think he decided to go on IR, which is a wild move. It's a wild move. I don't know how that happens. But the Titans have been winning. And winning in awesome fashion. But I don't think any of these teams in the AFC side were going, they'll beat the Ravens. Nobody's saying that.
No.
In the NFC side, there's a lot of questions. They're like, the Niners are very, very good, but they've already lost to the Seahawks. And the Seahawks are very, very good. You think Drew Brees is just going to disappear, though? And then Aaron Rodgers and LaFleur, maybe they'll get that defense figured out and straightened away, and maybe that offense will be humming for 4 quarters. The NFC has a lot more question marks in my eyes than the AFC, and that's why I can't just crown the Niners to be the Super Bowl contenders for the NFC, because I just don't know.
And I think that's also what magnifies how important it is of having a home playoff game. You have all these teams that are like 9-3, 10-2, 8-4. Like the margin is so slim, and going on the road in the playoffs might be what ends up, eliminating one of these teams. And then you have the Cowboys sitting there at 8-8, who their offense is good enough, to beat anyone in Jerry World.
Nah, they
stink. They're not any good.
They stink.
But you never know in the playoffs.
They're 0-6 against any top 10 defense or top 10 whatever. You have no idea. Granted, though, in the playoffs.
Right, you just don't know.
Any given Sunday. That inch in front of you. What's that whole speech he gives?
Yeah, the 6 inches in front of your face.
Yeah. I tried to watch The Irishman. Is that guy in that movie?
Yeah, he is. Hoffa.
I tried to watch The Irishman. Jeez Louise.
I've heard you're supposed to watch it as a 4-part miniseries.
That makes sense. I watched the first part and went to sleep. It's a 7-hour show.
I know, 3.5 hours. I haven't got around to it yet.
It's everything I like, too. Mafia, Irish folks. It's everything I like.
I knocked out 1 minute in.
Yeah, Zito didn't even know the painting houses reference, which is literally 3 minutes in, and Zito said, I watched it. I'm like, you painting houses, Zito? He's like, what? What?
Me painting houses?
What are you saying? By the way, I have a Teamsters pullover.
Ooh.
I don't know where it is. My dad's cousin Reggie was a Teamster, which I think means he was in the Irish Mafia.
Pretty close.
Which I respect and I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And I got a Teamsters pullover. And after watching that movie, it feels like I could probably walk into any city with that thing on and be in good company.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I'd owe them. But I would owe them. All right, let's get to a break. We got Brian Westbrook on the other side. I can't wait to talk to him about the NFC East just stinking so bad. Philadelphia Eagles. E-A-G-L-E-S. Eagles.
Stink.
10:36, we'll be back on the other side. You listen to Power. By the way, hey, Jets, don't think we forgot about you losing to Andy Dalton. There was only one person that was excited to play in that game, and it was Andy Dalton. I hammered the Bengals money line.
Yep.
It was one of the most obvious bets I've ever seen. Andy Dalton's back under center with a lot to prove. Jets had no shot. But this Eagles team. Brian Westbrook on the other side. You listen to the Pat McAfee Show.
When the only weapon is your name, and they won't count if you don't aim. Good intentions hold us back. You should stand down. Hey, oh, hey, ooh, hey, oh, hey. Shade, control. Like a cage behind deep dark eyes, the games unfold. You've won. Take the soul, let it grow without a show. Make the goal and run. When the only weapon is your name, and they won't count if you don't aim. Good intentions hold us back. You should stand down. When the only weapon is your name, and they won't count if you don't aim. Good intentions hold us back. You should stand down and let me attack. When the only weapon is your name, and they won't count if you don't aim. Good intentions hold us back. You should stand down and let me attack. When the only weapon is your name, and they won't count if you don't aim. Good intentions hold us back. You should stand down and let me attack. the same flame, bold to steal the sun. When the only weapon is your name, and they won't count if you don't name. Good intentions hold us back. You should stand down. Hey, oh, hey, ooh, hey, oh, hey. Shade, control, like a cage behind deep dark eyes. The games unfold, you've won. Take your soul, let it grow without a show. Make the goal and run. When the only weapon is your name, and they won't count if you don't name. Good intentions hold us back. You should stand down. When the only weapon is your name.
Ho! Dun, 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 dun. Oh, there it is.
Yep.
Ba-da-now. Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show. 10:42 and 50 seconds on the Eastern Standard Time. We are joined by an All-Pro, a two-time Pro Bowler, a Philadelphia Eagles Hall of Fame member, a Walter Payton Award winner, two-time Atlantic 10 Offensive Player of the Year. Ladies and gentlemen, from Villanova, running back Brian Westbrook.
Good morning, guys. How are you doing this morning?
I'm incredible. Thank you for asking. How are you doing? Your Eagles stink.
Because of that, I'm not doing very well. But football season is rolling around and rolling on. And we've had a lot of very good football to watch, not including my Philadelphia Eagles.
I agree completely. The NFL season is the greatest time of year now, and we're rolling into the best time of year off the field as well. So, I mean, it's a magical time to be alive. But let's talk about the Philadelphia Eagles. You lay an egg in Miami against a buzzsaw Ryan Fitzmagic. I mean, everybody knew that was going to happen, but they still control their destiny. Do you see anything in this Eagles team that could potentially pose a long run in the playoffs?
You know what, Pat? I don't.
Yeah, me neither.
I think in order to be able to sustain good play, especially in the playoffs, in November and December, you have to be able to run the football, which I think the Eagles over the last couple of weeks have done a decent job of running the football, averaging close to 5 yards a carry, but they don't have a commitment to it. And so they're committed to throwing the football with Carson Wentz. You saw 46 passes yesterday from Carson, which is way too many, especially when you're running the ball at 4.9 yards per carry. The other part that you have to have sustained success in November, December, which leads into a playoff run, is being able to stop the run on the other side of the ball. And not only did the Eagles not do a great job of stopping the run, and obviously they're going to be a good stopping the run type of defense. They couldn't stop the pass yesterday.
Agreed.
And so that was kind of weird, especially because over the last few weeks they played Tom Brady, they played Russell Wilson, and the secondary did a great job as far as slowing things down. You know, early on the season, the Eagles secondary had a bunch of injuries. Jalen Mills came back, helped the defense. Ronald Darby, as well as Devontae Maddox, their slot cornerback, came back, and that defense, the secondary in particular, looked much, much better. And yesterday, they got beat up pretty bad by Ryan Fitzpatrick and Devontae Parker, who had a heck of a day. And you know, when you look at those types of things, not being committed to the run, not being able to stop the pass on the other side of the ball, it's just not a good mix for the Philadelphia Eagles playoff opportunities.
I agree, but they still could potentially have a home playoff game. I mean, because the Cowboys are trying their best to suck too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, you're absolutely right. So it's going to come down to that. I think it's December 22nd game against the Cowboys, in Philly. And, the last time they played, the Cowboys beat them 37-10. They looked really, really well, good as far as running the football, passing the football as well. They did a great job. They look like a different team now, the Dallas Cowboys do. They look like a lost football team. Their defense looks totally different than they did early on in the season. And so it's going to be a battle of two teams that over the last few games have not looked very good running, passing, as well as defending the football. And so it'll be an interesting game either way. No matter if it's the Dallas Cowboys or the Philadelphia Eagles, it's hard to envision either one of these teams having a long run in the playoffs.
I agree. I think there's going to be a lot of coaching jobs up for grabs in that NFC East as well after this season. I'll be excited to see how that turns out. Now, let's pivot to a running back in the NFC who has done a hell of a job this year, but some reason gets caught up on the goal line on a very regular occasion. Christian McCaffrey worked his way into MVP conversations with all that he's done. He's done incredible. But for some reason, whenever it's two-goal situation on the goal line, he's been stopped on numerous occasions. Is that personnel? Is that mental? What is that, you think?
Well, I just think that Christian McCaffrey is similar to myself, does a great job in space. And when you put him in space, he's going to make people miss. He's going to use his speed and his quickness, his lateral ability to just make guys look kind of crazy in space. And we've seen it really all season long. Now, what happens in the goal line is everything is compressed. Everything happens a little bit faster. And so he just doesn't have as much space, and he doesn't look as explosive because everyone is bunched in. And, you got now 11 guys within a 5-10 yard area, and it makes it a little bit tougher for him. And so that's why he's much more effective out in the field opposed to the goal line. And, again, he put on a bunch of weight this offseason, but he's still not a big back. He's still not 230. He's not going to run through a bunch of different guys. And so goal line may not be his ideal place. However, if teams are willing offensively to spread things out on the goal line, now you have to get defenders in space. That's where he's going to be much more successful.
We're talking to Brian Westbrook, superstar running back for the Philadelphia Eagles for 8 seasons, I apologize. Did you get a chance to see Derrick Henry and what he did against the Indianapolis Colts? He's getting hot right now, and so are those Tennessee Titans. But when you have a running back who's 6'12", 700 pounds, who runs a 4.5, how do you stop that, Mr. Westbrook?
Well, the thing that you do, I guess a running back, and I saw Derrick Henry at the Maxwell Awards when he was coming out of high school. He was 6'3", 240 at that point. I saw him when he was leaving Alabama. He was 6'4", 250 at that point. And what you're seeing now, the latter part of the season, now we're in December, is defenders making business decisions. They're saying, okay, here it comes down to this, especially if you're not going to the playoffs. You're saying, okay, is it worth risking my body to try to tackle this grown man down to the ground? And, sometimes especially for cornerbacks and safety, it may not be worth it. With the running back that size, sometimes for linebackers as well as linemen, it may not be worth it. And we saw this happen last year. Towards the end of the year, Derrick Henry just started going off. And teams were saying they weren't willing to step up and try to tackle that man in space. And now you're continuing to see, we saw it again yesterday, 26 carries, 146 yards, and a touchdown. That was impressive.
Good stats right there, Mr. Westbrook. I appreciate that.
Off the top of my head, just thinking.
Yeah, I mean, you're a very smart man. That's why you've had a lot of success both on the field and off the field. What do you do now, Mr. Westbrook?
Well, right now I do a bunch of radio and TV. I do ESPN radio down in Philadelphia for 97.5 The Fanatic.
Oh.
I do a show with Adam Lefkoe.
Love Lefkoe.
A couple days a week. I know he's been on your show as well over there at Bleacher Report. I do a pregame show and a postgame show in Philly as well. And so just running around doing a bunch of TV and radio. I also do First Things First on Fox Sports 1, regularly a couple times a week. And so those are all the football things I do. But really the thing that I'm most passionate about and I'm most excited about, quite honestly, is my foundation. I have a horse farm down in Maryland. And, we're down there trying to empower young kids and to show them how to be successful in life and how to make sure that they can have great lives ahead of them. And so now we're down there my wife and I are down there trying to empower communities and make sure that they are, ready to be successful of our young people and teaching them different trades and crafts so that even if they're not good with their hands or in school, that they can use different skill sets to be successful in life. And so connecting the dots with that, that's kind of our passion at this point, and we're enjoying that an awful lot.
That's awesome. And fulfillment's a real thing. You don't get to feel fulfillment often, so I assume whenever you're doing that, that is something that really makes you feel full. Is that accurate?
Well, it is. So as an NFL player, God willing, I'll never have to have a job in the future. I'll want to work, but I never have to have a job. I've been blessed enough to make a bunch of money in the NFL, and now it's time to give back. I had so many people that helped me along the way. Now it's time to give back and help more people so that more people that look like me, that are like me, that are, even if they're not like me, can have success in the future. We want to help as many people as we can. That's what really our heart, that's how we find that fulfillment that you're talking about, when we're able to help some people and watch them progress and grow as individuals. And so it's been a special ride for me and my wife.
You got a horse farm, you said, down in Maryland? That's beautiful.
Yeah, horse farm down there. 50 acres down there in Maryland, right outside of D.C. And so it's a good little piece of land, and we enjoy it out there as much as we can get down there because, we're here in Brooklyn. So we spend a lot of time here, but we try to get down there as often as we can and try to enjoy the horses and the scenery, the pond, all that other stuff down there.
You got the horses in the back.
That's right.
Eggs in town. Who's winning the Super Bowl, Brian?
Oh, that's a tough one. The way that the Baltimore Ravens are playing,
unbelievable.
I don't know that anyone catches up to them. There's a point where I'm saying, okay, with the 49ers game this past weekend, I'm saying, okay, the 49ers, they have a really good defense. They have fast players, aggressive linebackers, a really good defensive line. They'll slow them down a little bit. They'll slow Lamar down a little bit, especially with the run game. And as you watch the game, there were so many times where the defenders, they were confused. They had no clue who had the ball. And that's not going to change. We're talking about the best defense in football in the 49ers, or at least one of the best, and they couldn't figure out who had the ball because of the ball handling of Lamar Jackson, and you have Mark Ingram in there, the different tight ends. And so as that continues to evolve, it's just hard for me to think that any defense is going to figure that out. And even though I saw the Ravens defense give up some yards yesterday, I still think they're going to be pretty hard to beat. Now, there's a couple teams in the NFC that I think have a chance. And a lot of people haven't been mentioning this team, but I think they have the ability to run the ball. They have two good receivers, and they have a quality defense, and that's the Minnesota Vikings. We'll see them tonight against Seattle. But I think that they have a chance. Obviously, I think Green Bay and Seattle and the Saints all have a chance. But that's one of my, low-key teams there that not a lot of people are talking about, but they have all the ingredients to make a run for the Super Bowl in my mind.
Okay, so we only got like a minute and a half left. That Minnesota Vikings team had that public meltdown, and everything has changed since then. Were you ever part of a team that had something like that?
Of course I was. We had T.O. on our team, and we had a big-time meltdown there between him and the organization and Donovan. So we had some issues there. I don't think that this Minnesota team went through all of that, but they were able to rally and come back together and win a bunch of football games. And now they're sitting at 8-3, heading to Seattle with a pivotal game in front of them, because I think that both of those teams are fighting for a wild card berth and things like that, and trying to figure out who's going to have a higher seed as far as the NFC playoffs. And so it's exciting, and I think they rallied. The Vikings have rallied, and now they got a great test tonight.
All right, well, Mr. Westbrook, I appreciate you so much. Love what you're doing down there with that horse farm in some of the most expensive property in the country with 50 acres. Good for you, ladies and gentlemen. Running back legend, Eagles legend, Brian Westbrook. Thank you so much, Brian.
Thank you, Pat. Take care now.
Hey, cheers, man. He's over there in BK. I think we could see it if it wasn't such terrible weather outside. We could look outside and see Brooklyn. It is something that everybody sees, though. Just that NFC East is so bad.
I know.
What happened? Beginning of the year, by the way, Cowboys are going to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Let's worry about getting Dak paid. We got Zeke paid. Let's do this. Let's put this whole thing right on Dak's shoulders. Bang, they stink. Carson Wentz over Nick Foles. Bang, they stink. Redskins, they fire a coach already. Jay Gruden, gone, tried to quit. 3 quarterbacks later, here we go. Dwayne Haskins, they stink. And the Giants, Danny Dimes, he'll be good in the future, I guess. Saquon Barkley, he'll be good in the future, I guess. But that team's going to rebuild yet again. How many rebuilds is Saquon Barkley going to have to go through?
Yeah, exactly. Same deal. Got to get that coach out of there. Got to find the right guy.
That guy stinks. We'll be back on the other side with the worst radio show in history. You're listening to the Pat McAfee Show. I have no idea why.
It's the perfect occasion for a mental vacation from the heart of the nation. Not your medication, 2 hours of magic. Let's give it a go. Ladies and gents, it's the Pat McAfee Show. It's the Pat McAfee Show. It's the Pat McAfee Show.
10-4, good buddy Chase Rice. He's on tour. If he's in your town, go ahead and check that good old boy out. He sings good. Welcome to the Pat McAfee Show, live from 4 World Trade here in New York. I'm sitting alongside a man that is newly engaged from Waterloo, Iowa, Ty Schmidt. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Forever?
Forever and ever, amen.
Amen. That's so cute, by the way. Congrats. Love is a beautiful thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just, I mean, you know, again, I wouldn't say that you're quote-unquote matchmaker, but I would have never met her if I would have never moved down here. So, you know, you can put that in your belt.
What are you woeing over there? You too, little...
Happy whoa. Happy. That's a happy whoa.
Yeah. No, it didn't sound like a happy woe. Your delivery was a bit strong for a happy woe. In the back, directing people around that they should not be directing around, Evan Foxy and Zito. We appreciate the hell out of you. If you're just joining the show, first hour we had Brian Westbrook to talk about the Eagles stinking, the NFC East being terrible. But I think if you're just joining, you should at least hear what our thoughts are on the New England Patriots and the Houston Texans last night. Houston Texans, great game last night. Good win for them at home in front of one of the most electric environments in all of the NFL. I've had a chance to play down in Houston. First it was NRG, then it was Reliance Stadium. I have no idea what it's called now. But the place and Houston fans are very magnetic. I mean, they are a vocal bunch, and I don't think any of them sat down for the entire second half because they knew how big of a game it was, not only for their team, but for a nation of fans that wanted to see Tom Brady fall off the mountaintop and the Patriots stumble, which it does appear is happening currently. Friend of the show, Kyle Van Noy, got held pretty big time on one of the touchdowns. I think a lot of people tweeted us that. And that defense was still doing its job, playing well. Deshaun Watson's going to make plays. When you have Stills, Fuller, Nuke, and Duke Johnson gets loose, that team's going to make plays. That's going to happen. You're relying on your offense to pick it up. Now, half their team had the flu. They had 2 different planes that flew down to Houston. That is very difficult to deal with. The flu can be something that drains you. And in a sport that revolves around having energy and getting beat up, especially this late in the season, it was not a good spot for the Patriots to be in. I actually hammered the Texans +3 strictly because of the flu. Because as somebody that had it coming out of the attic and the basement one time during a football season, it is tough for me to kick balls, let alone run into people's faces, which a lot of their team had to do. So, I expected the Patriots to lose. What I did not expect was Tom Brady to get rattled. Tom Brady is the consummate professional. Yes, he's a fiery guy. He runs down the field, screams, let's go, gets the fans rattled. Yes, he's the most successful quarterback in the history of our game, the greatest player of all time, handsome, you name it, he got it. But I honestly didn't believe for a long portion of my life that Tom Brady had sweat glands. I didn't think he sweat. His eye black was always perfect. Yes, he would yell at coaches or yell at players, but then he'd right back on top and go out and execute, and things would get done. Last night, he threw his helmet. He was asking humans to be faster, quicker, more explosive, not robotic. He's asking humans to do things that aren't possible just to flip the switch and do. I need you to run 10 yards instead of 8 yards. That's something somebody can do. I need you to lead off with your left foot, not your right foot. That's something somebody can do. I need you to catch a ball with 2 hands, not 1 hand. That's something somebody can do. In the middle of a game, Sunday Night Football, you can't just become faster. You can't just become a quicker human. You can't just become a more explosive human. He throws his helmet. It just felt like for the first time, Tom Brady finally said, damn, I don't know what the hell's going on here, and I don't know how we fix it. And for me, that's scary, especially as a guy that loves to put money on the Patriots because I understand that that's what they do is they win games. Still, with all this being said, by the way, it was a 1-score game with a chance of getting an onside kick and going down and winning that thing if Kai Forbath can hit an extra point, which we're not 100% sure that he can. That guy stinks at kicking balls. I don't know how he got a job. I mean, he was good back in the day, but now he's not. Nick Folk coming back will be good for them. Gostkowski, by the way, how much do you miss him, Patriots fans? Have been burying him for a long time. The guy has no cartilage in his knees, I don't think, and a torn hip. The guy was going through a lot. That's why also for Colts fans that want Vinatieri out, like, there's not a lot of good kickers on the street. That's not an easy position to do, Ninja, you idiot. So it's one of those things where I think me seeing Tom Brady rattled was the most eye-opening thing for me last night. and the Texans enjoying the hell out of themselves is something I see. But the Patriots are still 10-2. Do I think they're going to figure it out? I don't know. They cut Josh Gordon a couple weeks ago. They just let him go to IR and let him walk out of the building. They let Demaryius Thomas out of the building. And normally when Belichick does things like these, it works out. So you're everybody like, yep, that's what Belichick does. If anybody else was to do it, they'd be called the worst GM, the worst coach in history. But when Belichick does it, we go, oh, he must have a plan. Right now, it looks like they need some weapons on offense. They've let them out of the building. Obviously, the Antonio Brown distraction, destruction, everything like that is tough for them as well. But on the offensive side of the ball, I think Tom Brady's about had it. I think he's about done with it. And if I'm a Patriots fan, it's a little bit alarming.
Yeah, I think the seeing him actually physically throw his helmet and all that culmination, maybe that is just him being the writing's on the wall
What do
now.
you want me to do, boys?
Exactly. We're not going to get it figured out, as everyone's saying. And if we do, we need to hurry up and do it right now. Because everyone says that the Patriots, post-Thanksgiving, playoff football, that's when they get their best. But they really haven't shown anything on the offensive side of the ball that suggests they're going to be able to turn it around like that. And it's kind of alarming.
They're going to make the playoffs.
Right.
They're probably going to win in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
But let's remember last year, D Ford lines up 6 inches back. Now, granted, we might know 6 inches better than D Ford. 6 inches back, Chiefs go on to the playoffs, probably win a Super Bowl. Okay? That is a real stat right there. So maybe a little luck is involved in the whole thing. But the Patriots, I assume, are just going to win it all. You have to just assume they're going to win it. Rex Ryan this morning said, last year I said it was the worst Patriots team he's ever seen to go and win a Super Bowl. He said today, this is the worst Patriots team I've ever seen. They could go and win a Super Bowl just because of the big brains they have up there. Belichick, McDaniels, Ernie Adams, also Tom Brady. But boy, he looked fed up in the middle of that whole thing.
Well, and just the expectation. That's why it's different than every other team. Everyone expects them to at least go to the AFC Championship in the Super Bowl. That's why.
And if they don't, by the way, massive letdown.
Exactly. That's why being 10-2 and winning the division, they don't care about any of that stuff. The goal is to win the Super Bowl, and if they don't think they can get there with this current roster, you see this kind of stuff from Brady.
This is Overreaction Monday, by the way.
Yeah,
this is what
big
we're
time.
doing. It's almost like when Jerry said it was a turning point when we lost to the Patriots at the Patriots, and everybody was like, yo, you lost to the Patriots in New England. That's going to happen. Now you lose the Bills at home. Maybe that's a turning point. But for the Patriots, half of their team had the flu. They're in Houston, which is not an easy place to play. They do not get enough respect as a fan base and how hard they can make it on other teams. Maybe we're looking too far into it, but that's what Overreaction Monday's for.
Well, and it's just, I honestly forgot a little bit that they're 10-2. They've only lost 2 games.
10-2. And they have not played offensive football at all.
No, they haven't. But also, you look at the 2 guys they've lost to, maybe those are the types of quarterbacks that give them fits and that they can't go, score for score with. You get a really mobile guy who can still air it out downfield.
Same quarterback that gives the Niners fits.
Exactly.
Is a guy that's mobile, right? Lamar has beaten everybody, but Russell Wilson was able to get out of the pocket, extend some plays. He beats the Niners.
Mm-hmm.
Lamar Jackson was able to extend some plays. Offensive line's able to block. He beats the Niners. And the Patriots have the same problem. Deshaun Watson, Lamar Jackson. Is the game changing? Are the Patriots being left behind with the game being changed the way it's changing? Is Josh McDaniels going to take the head coaching job for the Dallas Cowboys and bring Tom Brady down to Jerry World? Oh my God. Are these all things that are happening?
They're definitely all plausible and possible.
People are saying.
Maybe even likely.
Oh my God.
And on the other side of that, too, though, you got to give the Texans a lot of credit.
Have to.
That was that was pretty much a must-win. You look at Indianapolis and Tennessee kind of being right on their heels. If they lose that game, they're tied for the division lead with Tennessee, and who knows where. But you get that type of win at home. I feel like this is the kind of catalyst too that sends you in the back half of the season just with much more confidence. And it's all right, we're a real team here. We got something.
And by the way, I love the Texans guitar band thing.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely love the team photo thing. I like when teams do that. But the entire team was playing the guitar last night for Houston Texans. And Deshaun Watson tweeted after the game, "I'm a rock star, mama." I think you're 100% right, Deshaun. You are a rock star. 35-yard touchdown called back, right back to it. Same corner, same throw, no big deal. Kid is a hell of a player. But we have to butt this. Flustered Tom Brady.
Right.
On the road, Sunday Night Football, 1-score game against one of the hottest teams in the NFL, the Houston Texans.
Should Mr. O'Brien be scared that Belichick didn't give him that handshake out of the game?
I didn't see that. What happened?
He kind of stuffed him. Or maybe he didn't want to give him the flu. I don't know.
I don't know. I love a good beef after a game between two coaches, though. What happened with the Lions back in the day? Somebody fist fought somebody, didn't they?
Yeah, Jim Schwartz and Harbaugh.
Yeah. Harbaugh slapped Jim Schwartz on the back during their post-game handshake, and then Jim Schwartz ran him down into the locker room. It was
Foxy,
awesome.
I don't know if you have your ear to the ground in Michigan, but are they trying to run Harbaugh out of town or what?
I'll tell you what, I would love Harbaugh to stay there as long as he wants because he'll never beat Ohio State. He struggles against Michigan State. He can stay at the University of Michigan as long as he wants, but I do know Michigan fans are fed up. I know you saw Dave Portnoy is done with him. A lot of Michigan
Hey,
fans.
that's a very vocal Michigan fan, by the way.
Exactly.
Who are you going to get that's better than him?
Matt Rule.
They're paying him a lot of money out there.
Yeah, but Matt Rule's in a good spot right now. Would he want to go to Michigan over being? I mean,
I don't know. I don't know why you would, but he's great. Just like the guy down in Memphis, Norwell or Norville,
yeah,
good coach.
Well, and that's the thing is Michigan has unrealistic expectations every year. It's kind of
Every
like
year.
Notre Dame. It's like, hey, guess what? You're not that team anymore. All right, Ohio State beats the hell out of you guys. Beat you like a drum every single year. Like
Ohio State is so good.
they're so good. But it's like you come in there and it's like, all right, listen, well, we're gonna need you to win a national championship within the next 2 years.
And
okay?
I love that the people start throwing around the money that Harbaugh's making. Have you ever been to Ann Arbor? Yeah.
Oh, my
$7.5 million a year is probably 3 cars in some of those frats houses.
Mm-hmm.
Ann Arbor is flooded with cash. So, like today, everybody in the production meeting was like, well, when they pay them that much money, they're expecting anything. It's like, Michigan does not give a single damn about cash.
No.
They got billionaires on top of billionaires going to school up there. There's a reason why when you wear the M, you feel as if you're better than everybody else. That's because everything you've ever had in your life is probably better than everybody else. I mean, that's just a tough way to look at it. But for me, Harbaugh can't beat Ohio State. And it looks like he's about done with it, too. If you look at Harbaugh's history, at Stanford, it was like 5 years. 49ers, like 5 years. Michigan here, we're at like 5 years. It almost feels like Harbaugh might want out as opposed to Michigan wanting him out. And if he does, I'd assume there's a lot of NFL teams that would want him there immediately, which I don't know if that makes 100% sense to me either. I don't know if that's the right move for a lot of teams, but we'll see how it all works.
Yeah, Foxy said it earlier. I could see him going and coaching with his brother in Baltimore for like a year or two, and then maybe, who knows, like getting a head coaching job somewhere. I don't know. I think you're right, though. His shtick just grows old
Yep.
after a while. Guys
That's what it
just
is.
like,
McAfee's stick is growing old.
I'm sick and tired of McAfee's shtick. Stop doing it to game day, damn it.
Get your energy. Get the way you talk. People are mad at the way old whites are mad at the way I talk. It's like, what do you want from me? I'm sorry. Go after Sally and Tim McAfee. They should have fornicated 9 months before May 2nd, 1987. It's their fault that this happened. But I know it's getting old to you. I have to live with it. Think about what I'm like every day. I'm with me every day. Think about how bad my life sucks.
Just put it in perspective, because if you flipped it around, I mean, people think that we're, like really exaggerating on that. Like, that's what these kind of people sound like if they were to go on air. Can you imagine the response to that? I mean,
Speaking of response, I can't wait for the response for our next guest that's in studio. We're going to get to a break right here, and he's on the other side. Ladies and gentlemen, my agent is joining us. This is the first time he's come and seen us in New York. We come to his city every single week for the last 13 weeks. Haven't seen him one time.
nope.
He stopped by the studio. I got questions. Game day questions.
Yeah.
I got a lot of game day questions. Dude. We'll be back with CAA's finest, David Coonan, talking more football, talking more sports, and the business behind it with a guy who has his ear to the ground literally everywhere. You're listening to the Pat McAfee Show. Also, Eddie George later this hour. That's going to suck. air. Oh. We're coming live from New York City. We got a guy who talks some trash. We got an agent. He's in a suit. He talks straight about his ass. Ladies and gentlemen, joining us now from CAA, which what I'm learning is like the Illuminati of the sports media world. An agent of mine from Atlanta, Georgia, David Coonan.
Thanks for having me. This was not something I planned on doing this morning. I literally just wanted to come say hello, farewell. It's been a good season here in New York, and now I find myself in this seat.
Well, it's great to have you here because we have some questions. You went to the University of Georgia.
I did.
That team's going to lose by 50 this weekend. How do you feel about Georgia's standings in the SEC?
I disagree.
Why?
In their last 12 quarters in Mercedes-Benz Stadium, Georgia has won 11 and a half, you could say 11 and 3/4 of those 12 quarters. Okay, there's something to be said for experience on that field, in that stadium, in that game, and then in a bigger one in the national championship. Georgia's got a championship defense.
Are you the biggest Georgia fan out there?
No, I'm a Georgia realist. Like, I'm the biggest Georgia appreciator out there. I'm not a fan, dude. I appreciate it. It has given me much joy in my life. It has given me a lot of heartache in my life. But I'm going to ride with them. Like, I'm invested in them. Not, I don't even mean financially. I mean, I'm just emotionally invested.
Well, you
in that
gamble
program.
on them every weekend. I mean, that's something you are invested in them.
Yeah, sure.
All right,
But I will root for them no matter what's happening.
You went to the University of Georgia whenever Matty Stafford was there, who's a very good friend of yours.
Yeah, we're real close.
Matthew Stafford right now, unbeknownst to Lions fans, is dealing and has been dealing with a broken back. He's been out for a couple weeks. Don't let Blau get hot.
Yeah.
Don't let Jeff Driscoll get hot.
I'm not too worried about Blau or Driscoll long term.
Whoa, we're not talking about... Stafford was, by the way, being a good pro to those guys on the sideline, helping them out and everything, which a lot of big ego quarterbacks would not be like.
No, Matthew is one of the all-time, I believe, underappreciated NFL players of this era.
Agreed.
He
100%.
is as tough as they come. This guy played the last season plus with a broken back. Finally, it got to the point where he just physically couldn't play. The one thing he's not going to do is risk paralysis or risk his life because he's got 3 beautiful young daughters. He's got an amazing wife. And it made sense for him to sort of just take a couple weeks off and let's see what happens.
He wants to play again this year?
He would play again tomorrow.
Foxy, how do you feel about that?
Sit him for the year, Coonan.
him
You
down.
got to
By the way, I
tell
don't
him.
disagree.
Shut him
You got
down.
to tell him.
Disagree.
Shut him down.
Shut him
for
down.
the season.
I don't disagree. All we want as a friend and as a Lions fan, as a Georgia fan, we want a healthy Matthew Stafford.
Well, that's a great agent answer, but if somebody needs to tell him not to play, it doesn't matter.
doesn't matter.
They're already eliminated. And you know what? He's really high on Driscoll and he's really high on Blau. And you could say what you want to say about those guys and how they've looked this year, but those two, from as I understand, have done everything asked of them and then some. Those are not. David Blau never took a practice with the ones.
Well, and Matthew Stafford, to his, not a lot of quarterbacks would do, because quarterbacks, prima donnas, right? I mean, since they're children, they've been fluffed up into a position of being better than everybody else. They get handed school grades. They get every cliche that you hear about football players. It's not happening to the punter. It is happening to the quarterback for good reason. It's their game. They touch the ball every single day. Matthew Stafford was paid $700 million the day he signed his contract in Detroit, and he has remained humble, hardworking, quiet. And with these backups playing, he was like their number one supporter, which, by the way, proved more to me than anything else that I've ever seen.
It's a little bit like an agent-client relationship, I think. Like,
Go on.
again, Matthew didn't want to play on Thanksgiving. He was hurt. It was Blau's day. I don't want to be in this seat right now. It's your day. It's Ty's day. It's
Yeah.
Foxy's day, not
How
pressing
long have you
buttons.
been an agent?
And I've been in CA for 4 years in some capacity, though. I think I've been doing this my whole life.
Oh, yeah. Why is that?
I think I've just wired, it's just in the DNA.
Dude. Your dad is a owner of the Hawks. You guys took care of us the other day. We can't thank you enough for that. And I think the most impressive thing about you is your dad is the owner of the Hawks, which means you could be an entitled prick, but instead,
Not at all.
You're this hardworking guy that has a ridiculously nice suit on right now that's been putting a nose to the grindstone with Michael Klein to get me in a lot of good positions, which I appreciate.
Yeah, shout out to Michael Klein. As we all know, he is Michael Klein and I think we have a great yin and yang together. I think we combine his Jewish wisdom with my New York cutthroat abilities. And yeah, we've had a hell of a year.
I've
So as
never
we
had
look-
an agent before, brother.
I know. And as we look back at We started working together, I think it was probably about a year and a half ago now.
Yep.
And as we look at all that you guys have accomplished from those first conversations in Indy to where we sit now, on top of New York City, literally, it's pretty damn cool.
It is pretty cool. I mean, granted, our little food thing over there, I think we could renegotiate on how that all works out.
Maybe some eggs and bacon.
Yeah, I just want a little bit of hot food. I mean, I tried to do a keto diet. It's impossible here, and I assume that's your fault. But everything else has been absolutely incredible. What should people think about? Because here's a question that we have. Mm-hmm. I've got an opportunity to do College Game Day now a couple times. Started out as a guest picker in South Dakota. Great time of my life. Been a fan of the show for a long time. But I think nobody has a clue what the future is with College Game Day. What should people think whenever they see me on College Game Day?
I would enjoy it for what it is right now and let the people who make those decisions, they're big brain people, as you like to say, let them figure that out for the future.
What a cop-out answer right there. He got a call from Michael Klein, the other agent, right before he went on the air and said, be smart about everything.
Just use your head.
Use your head is what he said.
Well, look, here's what I know. When you're on game day, it's electric.
Hey!
Game day is, so I'm a WWE guy as well, okay?
Yeah,
and
we
I
love
think it's
the
one thing that we bonded over. Game day is the best of college football meets the best of WWE meets the best of live entertainment. You take rowdy, liquored up college kids early in the morning who crave that national attention.
Yeah.
We forget we are sitting literally on top of New York City right now, the capital of the world. But when you go to Ames, Iowa, or Columbus, and I'm not trying to single any towns out, but
Sure
Ames,
sounded like
Iowa,
you were.
Yeah, Ames
Brookings,
stinks,
South
so
Dakota,
that's-
it's a really, really big deal. Just like when WWE comes to town.
Yeah.
And you take your energy, your ability to work a mic, you take the absolute.
Is that the perfect spot for? I think it's a perfect spot for me. Now, granted, I did Thursday Night Football, which I appreciate you guys getting me. That schedule was ruthless, but I enjoyed doing it and learning about it. I don't think commentating is for me now in the long run with how much work it is. I didn't expect all the time and all the conference calls and the production calls and this and that.
Especially with doing a daily show. I mean, you got a lot on
It's
your
a lot.
plate.
It's a lot with a daily show, but others have done it before, and I think you can handle it. I think you have handled it admirably.
I mean, we're alive. I mean, Ty's barely getting there,
Yeah.
but we're alive. We've had a long fall.
Almost had a stroke on one of the planes, I mean, it was...
Guy literally almost died for this entertainment, but I think College Game Day is the place where I'm supposed to be. Like that type of environment.
Yeah, like I said, the big brain people are going to make those decisions. We're here to answer any questions they may have, and we're here to help you get from A to B and look good doing it.
That's incredible. Did you hear about this bet with Eddie George that I did?
No, but I did hear you talking a lot of crap to Eddie George during the break there.
No, I didn't say a single thing. I didn't say a single thing about Eddie George. That is a lie.
What were you just saying?
Well, I just said I got to talk to Eddie George. It's going to suck.
It's going to suck.
Yeah, it's going to suck. Because the Titans beat the Colts for the first time in forever. They're 3-14 in the last 17 games. Eddie George called in the show last week. Great to have Eddie George on, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Electric back then.
An absolute legend.
Legend. Has his number retired in Tennessee. Incredible at Ohio State. You're talking about a legend. He wanted to place a little bet on this Titans-Colts game. Signed Dr. Pepper, autographed Dr. Pepper, which, by the way, we should think about getting a deal with. And also, I have to wear his jersey for 24 hours, which is going to be interesting.
There are worse jerseys you could wear.
I agree, by the way. I just don't like that after the draft, I go in on Tennessee. You know what I mean? I go in on the Titans. Following Reggie Wayne's.
Oh, it's his Titans jersey.
Yes. I was going to get his Ohio State jersey. Believe me, there was a little bit of an asterisk there. But I'm choosing to do the Titans jersey because they won it fair and square.
I mean, in your defense, had you known that Tannehill would have been starting that game, you probably wouldn't have done that at the draft.
Yeah, you're right. If I would have known that Andrew Luck was going to retire out of nowhere through an Adam Schefter. Do you know Adam Schefter?
Met him a couple times.
How many people do you know in the sports media world?
It's our job to know people, bro. We don't know people. We're not doing our job.
What an answer. So is your phone just always buzzing with people? Like right now, there's people text you like, why are you on a microphone with McAfee right now?
People are
Furious?
either hilariously entertained or absolutely furious.
Do you have multiple phones,
the
personal and...
No, one phone. Well, you only need one phone.
Wow.
Wow. I just learned a lot about you.
Schefter has like 8 phones.
Yeah, and that agent on the Aaron Rodgers commercials has at least 4 phones. So what are you doing wrong?
He has 2 clients. What's he doing wrong?
What is the dream? To have 1 big fish or 10 little fish?
Oh, the dream is to work with good people and do great work. The dream is to be able to be excited about the people you work with, and I think that we do that every single day. I wake up every day, usually to a FaceTime from you, and I'm excited to get out of bed and go to work and work for you that day.
Yeah, well, you're a good man. I'll tell you what, when I was signing on with the agencies, I had a lot of question marks. I don't need these people who don't get it in these big cities to be telling me what I should and shouldn't be doing. But you and Klein have been very, very impressive and very, very hardworking, which I would have never guessed. I thought you
Well,
guys
thank
just
you.
sit back and collect checks.
No, that's definitely not what we do. I wish that's how it worked. It's not how it works.
I mean, sometimes it feels like that's what you guys do. I'm going to let it be known. I mean, I wrote a check to you guys personally, and I was like, well, wait a minute now. There was no 10-hour Cheez-It commercial that you guys didn't have to sit through for that whole thing. You know what I mean?
I didn't make the rules, dude. Just gotta
You also
play by
don't
'em.
treat us like scumbags, which is
No, I
you know,
think-
which is nice.
I tell this to people, and again, please don't think this is pandering because it's not, even though it sounds like it. People
you're an
don't
agent.
realize the people that work at Pat McAfee Inc. could work at ESPN, could work at CBS, could work at Fox. That's you. It's Foxy. It's Zito. Zito maybe could work at PBS or something. Come on. No, you guys are smart. You're talented. You're funny. You work your asses off, and I think that you guys are just as big a part of sort of why this all works. I don't think somebody will be able to do what you have done in this short period of time. It's a perfect storm. Okay, you played the perfect position to be this sort of. You ever met any funny quarterbacks? You ever met like a
Peyton
funny
Manning's
running
kind
back?
of funny.
Yeah, but I'm saying that lives it, breathes it, that is his authentic self. You played punter. You had a lot of time watching other people on the field to, craft this persona, which is who you really are.
Craft a persona. Hold on.
To hone.
This stick's getting old.
I'm sick and tired of McAfee stick, damn it!
It's a perfect storm, and I think that everything that you guys have accomplished this year has been well deserved. And I think that I think we all know this is just the beginning.
I want to let you know the persona was crafted whenever I had to get a police escort off a soccer field in high school. That's probably when it all started. Everybody else got to enjoy the show while I watched the show. And that's how it goes. 11:30. We got to get to a break. We got Eddie George on the other side. I am not. Oh, where is Pat McAfee? Oh, where can he be? That's what Eddie George tweeted yesterday. That's what Eddie George tweeted
Talk to him
yesterday.
about it next.
Huh?
We're going to talk to him about it next.
Yeah, we are. Not until 11:40. We got like a 5-minute break, so we'll have 5 minutes before that. What NFL teams do you think stink?
The Bengals are bad, dude.
Bengals are bad, but to beat the Jets, that means the Jets stink.
Yeah.
I don't know that it works that way, though. The Jets have a lot more talent and than their record would indicate. They had some bad breaks to start the year.
Nah, they stink. Adam Gase stinks too.
Maybe the worst coach in the NFL.
I think there's a lot of redeemable qualities in Adam Gase. I think there's a lot of things that he doesn't get appreciated for. I think Adam Gase.
Like what?
with a
Dealing
healthy
with an
roster-
offensive line coach that's plowing through a Colombian Bam Bam on a daily basis?
Hey, dude, I can't. You said it, not me.
11:31. We're back on the other side. You're listening to the Pat McAfee Show.
Are we on?
I mean, we are. Yeah, but we got to wait.
Station identification.
It's December 2nd, 2019. I am not supposed to be here on the Pat McAfee Show. David Coonan, Ty Schmidt, Pat McAfee, welcome back.
Wow.
Electric.
Coonan told us he did his high school announcements. That's why he's good on the air, he says. That was an incredible introduction back to the show. 11:37 in 3 minutes, we'll be joined by Eddie George, who I owe a autographed ice cold Dr. Pepper, and I have to wear an Eddie George jersey for 24 hours because the Titans beat the Indianapolis Colts.
So here's what people don't know about Eddie George. So he is fantastic in his Dr. Pepper commercials.
He is.
You concur.
He is very good.
What they do not know about Eddie George, maybe you can ask him about, he was taking acting lessons at my friend's synagogue in Nashville, Tennessee. This is like 3 years ago.
They just give acting lessons at synagogues?
They do a lot of stuff at synagogues.
Synagogue is...
A Jewish church.
Very kosher.
Okay, that's on Saturdays. You guys go hang out there, right?
Saturday, Judaism is like college football, okay, where Saturday is the day.
Okay.
It happens on Saturdays, but you could go Tuesdays. There might be something on a Thursday.
Little action on Tuesday in the synagogue?
Yeah, there's action on Tuesdays. During the high holidays, which would be bowl season, you're going to be there for like 10 days in a row.
Do you do that, or you let everybody else do that, and you just kind of get the cliff notes? I don't know what everybody else is talking about.
I have my own connection with God. I do it my way.
I like that. I like that a lot.
I have my own connection with God.
Mm-hmm.
Now, listen, I'm a guy that goes to church a lot. I can't wait to get into synagogue, try to learn a little bit more about it.
Well, we've had long talks about it. I mean, and as we talk about what's Pat McAfee, this is Pat McAfee Show 2.0, 3.0, 4.0. I think one of the things that you want to explore is finding God with Pat McAfee.
Yeah, finding my God.
Finding your God.
Yeah, that's a real thing I want to do.
Starting from scratch and talking to everybody.
And I'm wide open, by the way. I got a lot of questions, though. I got questions for everybody now. You know what I mean? There's a lot of things. People make fun of Scientologists for things, and those same people believe a guy walked on water. And then those same people that make fun of that guy believe in like a special pair of underwear. And then there's like a special pair of underwear people that believe that the Judaism is stupid. I mean, everybody makes fun of every other religion when every religion has insane things happening inside of them that have started so many wars that we have no idea what's going on.
That was the subject matter of our first meeting. We came in.
Oh, yeah. It was a recruiting pitch, right? You guys came in, tried to sign me.
Wouldn't call it recruiting. I would just call it like a visit, like just getting to know each other.
Yeah.
But it was, instead of really talking business, what's the future? What do you see? It was Michael Klein explaining the laws of kashrut, which is the fancy way of saying kosher. It was you talking about your mom being the Saturday driver for a group of Hasidic Jews in Pittsburgh growing up.
Yes. Yes.
And I think
Not growing up, but just for a few years.
for a few years. Okay, but in the 4 hours we spent together, I'd probably 75% of our conversation was focused on religion, and I think that's ultimately why we, developed a connection.
Yeah, I have
Spiritual.
I have actual questions about all of that because it's insane to me. Because I don't know what I believe. I have no idea. I hope when I die it doesn't end. I hope something happens, and I just can't wait to see who's right. Speaking of being right, wasn't me. This guy was 100% right whenever he talked about the Tennessee Titans this weekend getting a win in Lucas Oil for the 17th meeting. Now they are 3-14. They earned a third win just yesterday with Derrick Henry, the 6'10", 400-pound running back. Ryan Tannehill dropping dimes. I owe this man an autograph. Cold, delicious Dr. Pepper, and also have to wear his jersey for 24 hours. There's been worse things. Ladies and gentlemen, Eddie George.
Thank you, Pat. Thank you for that wonderful, wonderful introduction, my friend. Thank you so much.
Is there anything you would,
brother?
I was about to say, is there anything you would like to say about yesterday's game between the Titans and the Colts?
I mean, I don't have to say much. I think you pretty much watched. You didn't see it, did you? You said that your satellite went out or something. I'm glad it did go out. You would have been highly upset. I mean, they played really well. I'm really proud of my boys. Mike Vrabel had them dialed in, played all three phases of the game extremely well, offense, defense. It was a total team win. I mean, listen, you guys have beaten us, golly, since, 2001, I think, something like that.
Yeah.
Ridiculous number. So, I mean, we were due. So let us have that. You know what I mean? Let us have that one victory because we don't know when it's going to come around again. But I think we're headed in the right direction. I was really impressed with Tannehill, how he was able to just throw balls all across the field, just dimes everywhere. Derrick Henry played well, but our special teams play was magnificent. And we got a couple of picks, too, that really helped us.
Okay, let's talk about Derrick Henry, because not only just because you're a running back, but because I think if you can run the ball and stop the run, that's how you get good in late December and into playoffs. Yeah. This team is trending towards a team that could do some real damage in the playoffs. Am I accurate in saying that about the Titans?
You know what, Pat? You're right, man. I mean, you talked about it. They're doing the right things at the right time. And what you do on the road is you bring three things with you: your defense, a strong running game, and your special teams play. And Derrick Henry, over the last 16 games, has rushed for over 1,800 yards, 18 touchdowns, and he's leading the league in rushing over the last 16 games. This dude is an absolute monster. He's been very consistent. He's really taken over the run game for the Titans, really the face of the franchise. And now you mix in a quarterback who's been consistent, bringing some moxie to the position, some great leadership skills, and Ryan Tannehill. I mean, guys, these guys are getting hot at the right time. And in this league, like you don't want to peak too early. You want to get hot at the right time, and this team is starting to do that. They got some challenges coming up. They got the Texans twice. They got New Orleans Saints they got to fly out to Oakland. Those are going to be some tests for them. But if they get through that gauntlet, I think they can make it happen in the playoffs.
How do you feel about the Texans last night against the Patriots? Massive win. Now, granted, the Patriots, half the team had the flu. They had two different planes. They're on the road in Houston. Houston never gets enough credit for being an electric environment, but massive win for the Texans. Are they peaking as well?
They look good, but I was hoping for that onside kick to happen, just to hear the air come out the stadium. Had they got that onside kick last night, Pat, we would have seen the epic meltdown, because we know what the outcome was going to be. If you give Tom Brady 50 seconds, come on, please. That's an automatic touchdown. They would have found a way to win the game. I wanted to see that game so you could see all the Texans fans sick. But great win overall for the Texans. They look pretty good. Deshaun Watson, man, he's impressive to watch. I mean, I'm really torn between him and Lamar Jackson. I know they went head-to-head this year. Lamar just ripped them apart, but Deshaun Watson is extremely impressive. The Texans look the part, too. It's going to be an interesting December coming up.
Tom Brady looked rattled for the first time I've ever seen Tom Brady look rattled.
Well, it was the receivers, okay? He was not rattled. The receivers were dropping balls. They weren't getting open. No, he was rattled. I have to agree.
Yeah, he threw his helmet. Eddie, he threw his helmet. And then he was asking dudes to be faster, quicker, and more explosive. You can't just learn that in the middle of a game. That's something you got to have or you don't have, Eddie.
Yeah, but you know what? It's coming from Tom Brady, so he knows something. He's probably telling them, listen, you got to get to your spot a little bit quicker or faster. Because I tell you what, the pass rush for the Texans was relentless. I mean, a great job of Romeo Crennel for dialing up some blitzes. They had they had like a dime look in certain plays. I think they went dime the whole game pretty much to match up with some of the running backs, the corner on the running back and so forth, and just a magnificent job defensively speaking for the Houston Texans. But we both know that when it really counts, when they get in the playoffs, the Patriots are going to find a way to win. The Patriots and the rest will find a way to win the game to advance them in the playoffs.
Is it hard to find an Eddie George jersey at this point, or is that pretty easy to find?
You know what? I have to send you one, bud. I don't want you to wear some jersey out of God knows where offline. I want you to get a stitched Eddie George jersey, not the iron-on numbers. Those suck. I can't stand those jerseys. I'm going to get you a stitched, signed Eddie George jersey, and I need that Dr. Pepper can signed in silver, not black, but silver. That work?
Yeah, I'll write you a little note on there, too. I'm sure it's going to be fantastic. Is that going up in your office where you manage billions and billions of dollars?
No, it won't be. You see my jersey is in my office now?
No, I'm talking about the can that I'm sending to you. Where are you going to put that at? Is that going right in the office, right behind like a game ball or something like that, or is that going right in the trash?
That'd be the decor for my bathroom, right behind my toilet. That's exactly where it's going to go. So every time I go to use the restroom, I'm like, there's my man, Pat. That's where you deserve to be, my friend.
Oh, that's hysterical. Hey, my agent here said that he found out through synagogue chatter. What was that?
All right, Eddie, so set the record straight here. You're fantastic in your Dr. Pepper.
Incredible in the
Incredible.
Dr. Pepper.
You play a very believable doctor.
Yes. And on the radio, by the way. You're very, very talented.
Very good. Now, it was brought to my attention that you may have taken acting lessons at a local Nashville synagogue. That's where you honed your acting chops. True or false? And if true, what's the story behind that?
Great question.
Well, it is true to a certain extent. I was doing a play called The Whipping Man, and it required me to learn some Hebrew. So we all went to a Seder and did this whole ordeal, and I had to learn Hebrew, had to learn the whole ritual, and it was really well done. God, I can't remember what I had. It was this leavened bread. It was really delicious. It was
Matzah?
amazing. Matzah, yes.
Yeah, matzo balls down there.
It's a Jewish cracker.
It was the whole ordeal was great. So yeah, it was a part of my process to get ready for the role that I played actually about 4 or 5 years ago.
A lot of proud congregates in Nashville, though.
Yeah, they're very proud of you.
They wear Eddie George jerseys to synagogue on Saturdays. They're very, very proud of this.
That's awesome. I didn't know you were in theater. You're in theater. You do incredible jobs on commercials. You're electric on a microphone, and you're financial managing millions and millions of dollars. Is there anything Eddie George stinks at?
Golf. That's what I'm trying to work on. I'm working on my golf game. But since you mentioned the Dr. Pepper commercials, of course they have to plug in Dr. Pepper and the amazing job that they've done this year for the commercials that I played the doctor on. Brian Bosworth played the town sheriff. I mean, they're just the second year for it. And it's really done to bring the college fans and college football together, to show the passion and emotional connection between both. And Fansville has an opportunity to show the nuances of what it's really like to be a college football fan. And this year, as you know, Pat, every year Dr. Pepper, they're celebrating the 11th anniversary of the Dr. Pepper tuition giveaway.
Oh,
which
yeah.
has changed the lives of a lot of kids when they throw the ball through the big Dr. Pepper can, and they're giving away $100,000 to the winner and $25,000 to the runner-up. So it changed a lot of lives. You know, these kids in college, and it's tough for them to get jobs. It's tough for them to pay off their tuition and so forth. So they do an exceptional job of changing the lives of these kids. I really enjoy it.
I'm happy we're past the point where people used to judge how kids would throw that ball.
Oh, I still do.
No, you shouldn't.
Oh, yeah, no, the chest pass is everything. It is absolutely brilliant the way they do it. Instead of doing the overthrow like a regular quarterback, they just the chest pass and it goes in. It's amazing.
It's genius. It's just like Matt Hack throwing a touchdown to Jason Sanders. It's the same exact thing. It's actual football. When you need to get a ball into a target, you utilize the best possible way to do so. The chest pass in this particular case for $100,000 is the right way to do it.
Without question, I think they should move it back to 15 and then have people throw seeds into that thing. However many you get, that's who wins.
But they want to give away the scholarship.
No, so they're still giving it away.
It's competition.
Yeah, it's a competition.
They
It's not
compete
just,
against each other.
Hey, who can chest pass the most from 2 yards
I look
away?
forward to it every single year because it shuts down the internet because it's always everybody's always torn. They're like, oh, it shouldn't be chest pass. I'm like, you know what? If I'm there, I'm chest passing that thing as much as I possibly can.
Without question.
And I was in Waco, the home of Dr. Pepper.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I housed about 4 or 5 Dr. Peppers down there in Waco. Haven't had one in a while. It's so sweet. It is so good.
Yeah, 23 flavors.
Who?
23 flavors.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's
23 flavors. My favorite is the cherry. The cherry flavored Dr. Pepper is amazing.
You MVP at Tailgate? No, Eddie, that's a reference to Jerry Rice. He was terrible on the show. Unlike you, you're amazing. Can I talk about Ohio State? That Ohio State, they might win. And by the way, great call, Nostradamus, and what happened with Michigan. I mean, you're almost spot on with your prediction. Is there anybody that can stop them? Nobody's talking about Clemson. Everybody's talking about LSU, obviously. Is there anybody that can stop Ohio State?
Well, you know what? You mentioned Clemson. We've never had great success against Clemson, and all the times that we played them. Of course, this year could be different, but Clemson, no, because no one's talking about Clemson, and they are last year's reigning champs. They have the quarterback's playing a lot better. He's playing the best month of football he's played, I think, in his career since he's been at Clemson, since going back to last year. They're still loaded defensively, loaded on a receiver. I mean, they're just a talented football team. And because they hadn't played any marquee games, nobody's talking about it. That's the one team that scares me a little bit with Ohio State. But the Buckeyes, they look really good on the road. They look kind of rattled at first in the first 5 minutes of the game until they settled in and are able to make plays offensively. J.K. Dobbins hasn't gotten enough credit to be a Heisman Trophy candidate. They have 3 guys that can possibly win it: Fields, Chase, and I think Dobbins now could be the front runner for Ohio State. I think Joe Burrow still has a chance to win the trophy, but I think it comes down between him and Dobbins this weekend. But he's been fantastic to watch.
Okay, last question before I let you go. What year did you win the Heisman? Was that your senior year?
That was my senior year in 1995.
Okay, I often wondered this about Trevor Lawrence. Yes, I know he's been groomed to be this quarterback, but with so much success your freshman year and having your first off time without your parents around, I knew he was going to slip into a slump. I think it's just human reaction. To see him get back to his form, I think is something that is incredibly mentally tough for that kid.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, anytime a freshman has success, you have a chance. It's like anything else. Guys will figure you out eventually. Defensive coordinators will figure you out and figure out your weaknesses. And I think you saw a little bit of that. And things are not going as well as they were going for him last year earlier on. All that stuff plays into it. And the kid has long hair, good-looking guy. Of course he's going to have a slump.
Yes.
Women are coming out of the woodwork.
Yes.
For this kid. So, yeah.
That's what I was talking about.
It is what it is, man. But I'm glad to see that he's playing well, but hopefully not too well against my boys when we see them in the college football playoff.
All right, well, good luck to you and your Ohio State Buckeyes this weekend, and also your Tennessee Titans. I'll get you the Dr. Pepper. Can't wait for the jersey. Very thankful for you coming on the show. You're incredible, ladies and gentlemen. Eddie George. Appreciate you, man.
Take care, guys. Take care.
Hey, he's really good. You should represent him.
I was going to ask, in season 3 of Fansville, what role can we expect Pat McAfee to play?
Oh, am I going to get into Fansville?
I was going to ask Eddie, put him on the spot.
I'm a Dr. Pepper guy for sure. I thought you were going to ask him who represents him. You should try to get into that game. I think so, too. Your suit right now you're wearing is Dr. Pepper colored.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's time to get a deal. Well, I know Pocket Square, not the show. Is it the show? Or
trying too hard. Who am I here to impress today?
Are you talking about my Pocket Square?
No, your talent, dude.
No, it's connected to the pocket.
I like those.
David Allen.
That's smart.
This one's got one, too.
Okay, who do we hate? Who stinks? Just so we can wrap the show up and let everybody know who stinks. NFC East stinks.
Everyone.
Jets stink. Bengals get a win.
Stink.
Dolphins get a win. I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it about Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Nope, I won't do it.
I won't say it. Colts banged up, but yesterday, stink. New York Giants stink. Washington Redskins, who have not been mathematically eliminated from winning the NFC East, stink. Patriots offense stinks. Don't want to say it too loud. And aside from that, Dallas Cowboys, everybody else that we have to talk about. Oh, well, Phillip Rivers has given up, by the way.
Yeah, he doesn't give it.
That guy is sick of driving to Los Angeles from San Diego.
Long drive.
He is done with it. I don't like that they didn't let Brandon McManus go for the NFL record at the end of the half. You dream for that situation as a kicker. McManus has a massive leg at Mile High. He was also hitting the ball very well yesterday. I think we have a new NFL record holder in Brandon McManus if Vic Fangio just has a little bit of a heart or a mind to let the guy go for it. He was not happy. Has a great mustache, comes back and hits a game winner. Happy for him. Good for the Broncos. They found a guy in Drew Lock. Also, Ducky Hodges, right into the MVP conversation. Mike Tomlin should be Coach of the Year.
Yep.
And that's Overreaction Monday, December 2nd, 2019. Anything that people should know that I got coming up?
Yeah, you're going to be seen. We'll just keep them in suspense. Let's sign these papers first.
We'll see you guys on the other side. We'll see you tomorrow. This has been the Pat McAfee Show.